Come on. Jesus. Takes forever for this tablet to boot up. Hey, Kitty slid in the door before everybody. Come on. Jesus Christ. I know, you're 16 years old. Okay. You're at 100% battery. You should boot up faster than this. Finally. Well, it would probably help if I had some earphones on. Your phone glitched. Yeah, that is strange. Although everybody says I'm hard to find, part of the problem is, and I've told people, when you type in search on YouTube, you have to space between the L and the T. If you run it all together, it gives you everything but me. I remember for the hell of it one day I did that. I put WDWL TV all together and it gave me like WLW and everything except me. If I knew how to if I knew how to do a website, I checked GoatDaddy.com and I could get WDWLTV.com. I would have to pay somebody to do a website. I mean, you can get help from GoDaddy, but I'm sure they charge you. Because I would like to do a one night a week podcast. But you have to have a website in order to do a podcast. Well, everybody's here. Broadcasting live from station WDWL TV Studio 1. Corporate offices located on Grumpy Vulture Boulevard. And my two private studios are located on Grumpy Old Man Road. And for you first timers, I am the Grumpy Old Man. And introducing the Grumpy Jackalope. All right, asshole, and the grumpy goddamn vulture. Take your bow, big ham. Look at the camera, straighten your banner. I still gotta find him a banner. I've got one. I don't know where it is. It's probably with the cameras I can't frickin' find. I have got to quit putting shit in a safe place because it's safe. I can't fucking find it. 3 brand new cameras, one being an AI camera. I don't know where the fuck I put them. Don't know where I put them. And one is in a bright yellow and white box. If anything would be easy to spot, it would be a white and yellow box. Can't find them. But here's the thing. If I would start looking for a scanner that I put in a safe place a year ago, I would find the cameras. That's another thing. I can't find. A year ago, a friend of mine gave me a real nice scanner. It won't scan shit around here. I put it in a safe place. And it's still safe. You're the same way, Kathy? I just... Maybe tomorrow I should look for the scanner. I'll find the cameras. They're all 3 are together. I remember that much. I put all 3 of them in the same place so that if I ever needed a camera, I would have them. And they're usually in the storeroom. Everything's in the storeroom but the scanner and the cameras. Because I'm trying to figure out how, the newer the car, the harder it is to mount any aftermarket equipment. I remember when I had a 1970 Ford Galaxy 500. That was a Galaxy. Police special. I could have mounted a steamer trunk in the front of that car, under the dash. This Passat, because I have a bank of 4 scanners, my ham radio, my CB radio, and my stand that mounts my police laptop, my tough book. I got it right out of a police car. And it's the same one that all the Cleveland police cars use because that's what it come out of. And the tough book snaps right in. There's hardly any goddamn room in that car. I was out there screwing with it today, although before we make plans and mounting all kinds of equipment, we need to have it run. But hopefully the fuel pump will be here tomorrow because we're going to have beautiful weather tomorrow. It's going to be in the 80s on Sunday. Would be the perfect time to put a fuel pump in and get a car running. But I took everything out of the RAV4, which I had shit everywhere because there was even less room in the. I don't know how I got all that shit in the RAV. And I'm like, how am I going to mount this? And with the damn thing having a sunroof, I can't mount them like I could do them across the ceiling. Because I've done that before. But now with a sunroof, doesn't your Garmin have a suction cup mount? I have a suction cup mount for mine. It was right there. Where'd it go? Wait a minute. Matter of fact, I had to buy a new one because the old one, the suction cup literally melted. But I've got this suction cup mount that is really cool because it extends and you can mount it up and down, and my Garmin snaps onto the ball mount, which is, just pops right in, mount to the windshield, and I can have my Garmin wherever I want it. Yeah, I got this fancy mount off of eBay. It was like $12. And it comes with this disc that you would stick to the dash if you wanted to mount it on the dash and do it that way. For $12, it was kind of neat. Believe it or not, this Garmin, now it's not a new Garmin. I was able to update it. I found this sucker in a dumpster. And cord and everything. And I figured, it don't work. I plugged it in, worked like a charm. I went on the Garmin website, I updated it, and it's going in the Passat. Yeah, I have the same mount for my Magellan. I have a Magellan in the shitbox, and I've got this Garmin that was originally in the RAV until one day I have never seen one of these suction cup mounts melt. It literally melted. Talk about goo all over the place. So I bought, as a matter of fact, this is a better one than I had. So the Garmin is going to go in the Passat. And I bought that mount off of eBay. You know what's amazing? There must have been every type of mount for a Garmin on Earth. And I'm sure they still sell them. Although most cars have a GPS, the newer vehicles. When that mount melted, I was like, oh Christ, I won't be able to find one. I went on eBay, I was like, hey, jeez. Every mount imaginable. I don't know, do they still sell Garmins? And you had Magellan, you had Garmin. I can't remember the third. There were three that were really popular back in the day. Because some of the Cleveland police cars had whatever number 3 was. Evidently the third one must have been the cheapest choice. Because you had Garmin, you had Magellan, and it was a goofy name. I can't remember the third GPS that was popular back in the 90s and early 2000s, and actually until they started putting frickin' GPSs in the cars. TomTom. That must have been the cheapest out of the 3. Because mainly it was the supervisors that had the TomToms in their police cars. I was like, TomTom? And TomTom had a goofy screen. but they worked. They probably didn't mount them in all the city cruisers for theft reasons. Although, like I say, I haven't heard Magellan or Garmin or TomTom mentioned in ages. Well, the Magellan that I have, Ron, is half the size of my Garmin, and it was twice the price. It's like a 4x3. It's a little, and it was twice the price of that big ass Garmin that I have. And to me, the Garmin was better. Their mapping was better. Everything's, to me personally, my opinion. But I decided I would buy one of each and pit one against the other to see which one was better. And to me, I prefer the Garmin. Although, my Magellan in the shitbox has a monster truck that drives along the map. That's the only reason I turned it on. To watch the monster truck drive on the map. But my Garmin don't have monster trucks. Yeah, well, you have four choices. You have a dot. You have a car. You have an SUV or a monster truck. Oh, Linda, that don't. Oh, that's the. I hope you didn't injure yourself severely. Yeah, Kathy, it's cool. I every week I would switch. I would have the car. I would have the SUV, or now I just leave the monster truck because it looks like a monster truck, big wheels on it, and it drives along the screen as you're driving down the road. Oh, back when these GPS units first came out, there were a lot of that type of situation, Aaron. There was. I'm trying to think where in the United States. Oh, it was out in California. It told this guy to make a left or a right turn as he was going up Mulholland Drive, and he drove right off the edge, 300 feet down. Luckily, he survived. He wasn't really injured that bad, which was amazing for that car going 300 feet. But yeah, it said, in 500 feet, make a right turn. He puts his turn signal on, makes a right turn, drives right off the cliff. God, I remember when my friend was traveling and he was going through North or South Carolina, and the goddamn GPS took him like 20 miles out of his way. Instead of taking the direct route, it said turn here, and he ended up on some back roads, and it took him forever to get back to the highway. So you have to kind of know where you're going and not to trust your GPS 100%. Now, what's goofy, I programmed in the address of Metro Parma, which is, it's like 12301 Snow Road. If I need to go up there, I come out of my driveway, I go to the end of the street, I make a left turn, I go to the traffic light, I make a right turn, that's 130th. I go right out to Snow Road, make a left, and less than a quarter mile. But if I punched that into my Garmin, it tells me to go up to 150th and take 150th to Snow Road, and that, which is like 5 miles extra. I don't know why because I'm closer to 130th than I am 150th. But if I was to go by way of my Garmin, it tells me to go up to 150th, take 150th to Snow, make the left. Now, I could put a GPS app on my cell phone. There's like 20 to choose from. But why clog my cell phone up with another app when I've got my Magellans and my Garmins, and I rarely use them for traveling. Like I say, I just use mine to watch the monster truck drive down the road. I was looking at the weather earlier. Looks like that next tropical storm is headed for the Gulf. I don't know if it's been upgraded yet. Christ, Texas don't need any more after that last one. Jesus. No, I got enough vehicles. Although it would be neat to have a farm tractor. I see that I read an article yesterday that I don't know if it was a Girl Scout camp that got flooded out in Texas. They're going to reopen it next year. They're working on all the renovations as we speak. I guess they're going to put up a nice monument to all the unfortunate kids that didn't make it. They have a paper plane. I guess I'll have to go in and look. Maybe I might download something. Although I just did the update a couple weeks ago, I don't remember seeing any ad vehicles. Would be kind of cool if they had a semi or a farm tractor. I just like watching it on the screen. I should be watching the road, but it's kind of neat. Instead of watching a green dot, you know. That's like whenever I would go to the mall, I loved them intelligent signs. You would look and it would say, "You are here." I'm like, wow, it knows I'm in the mall. And it knows where I am. Then some young kids would walk by and go, "Oh, he's got dementia." I'd be pointing it out, going, "Look how smart this sign is. It says, 'You are here.' It knows right where I am." Young kids today have no sense of humor. I got some new specs. Readers.com. Clearance. $8. I like them because basically I could pull them down and look over the top of them. But then I look like a librarian. I got 3 different pair. It was buy two, get one free. So I went through the whole clearance. I was like, oh, I like these, I like these, and I like these. That's where I get all my reading glasses from. Readers.com. Matter of fact, one of the pair I got was Foster Grant's. They were regularly like $52 on sale for $9. And I lucked out they were in my strength. Holy shit. I had to wait a month for my second eye. Maybe that's because they had, implant a lens. Are they going to implant a lens? Man, he ain't given much healing time. I mean, it's nice to get it knocked out within 2 weeks, but he isn't given that first eye too much healing time. Kathy, once your eyes heal, you are going to be amazed. You're going to sit there and go, holy shit, I didn't realize I was that blind. I was shocked. When both of my eyes were 100% healed, I was shocked. Because when my eyes were fully healed up, I got on the freeway and I was like, holy Christ, I can see freeway exit signs 5 miles down the road. And for distance, I got perfect 20/20, both eyes. I just need these for close work. Yeah, otherwise, oh, yeah. Yeah, get yourself a fright wig and a stick-on beard. You could be, like Goulardi, missing one lens out of it. My surgeon told me to throw my old glasses out. He said, just get rid of them. So I donated them to the, not the eye bank. There's some organization where you donate your glasses to people that are less fortunate, that can't afford them, and I think they give them away. I can't remember the name of that organization because no, it wasn't the Lions Club. It was some local organization here, but it wasn't the Lions Club. I'd have remembered that. Because he gave me the website. He said, here's the website. They're local here in Cleveland. It'll give you the address where to send them. Because I had 4 pair. Because at the time I bought my glasses, it was buy one, get one free. So I got 2 regular, and then I took advantage of the sale and I got sunglasses. That was an expensive donation. I hope they appreciated it. Yeah, my surgeries were a month apart. Because he wanted the eye to be totally healed before he worked on the other one. Because, yeah, I had to wear the patch for 24 hours. And then I had to put drops in the eye for like 3 or 4 days. And you had to make sure, like when you washed your face, you didn't push on your eye accidentally. Because it was a month to the day. I did the one, then I had the second one done, and then it was a month for the second eye to heal. Then I had to go in for the eye exam. And that's when he told me, he said, you got perfect 20/20 for distance, but you need a little help reading. And that's why I get the half glasses. Cadillac surgery, Ron. Kathy's going in for her Cadillac surgery. Now, Tuesday night, if you don't feel up to it, Kathy, you will understand if you're not here. The goofy thing... Oh, wait a minute. I had a bandage that I had to leave on for 24 hours. And then for the next 3 or 4 days, I had a clear... It was like a clear eye patch. It was a plastic that I had to tape over the eye at night. But I could take it off during the day. Because for 3 or 4 days, it was, I think, 3 times a day I had to put eye drops in the eyes. And then, once everything was healed, because he made sure to tell me, throw those eye drops away. so you don't accidentally think they're Visine. And he told me if I ever have to use Visine to get the extra lubricating or something, but I've never had to. Yeah, next month. Well, next month I'm going to get. They got to zap the right eye with a laser because around the corner of the lens implant, there's a little scar tissue. And I noticed that if I'm doing this, I get a little fuzz mainly in my peripheral vision. So next month they're gonna get a quick laser zap. And then she told me, you'll be good. But I'm going to schedule an appointment like next year in like June or July. Because if there is any change in the eyes and I need like bicycle focals again, I want my eyes to be fully adjusted to that shit before I take my driver's exam in November. Because next year my license expires. And what sucks in Ohio, you can renew your license for 6 years, except after 65, 2 years. I was talking about being biased to senior citizens. Yeah, you can go 2, 4, maybe 8. I'm going to have to look at the website again. I know it's 6, but it don't do me no good because anything over 65, they only issue you a 2-year license. Yeah, last night I caught Jimmy Kimmel's monologue. Then I turned it off. I didn't care for the guests that he had. People I didn't know. Although most late night shows, I'm not up on my movie stars and TV stars, and so he was saying last night that there's 63 TV stations that are not carrying him because they're owned by I can't remember the network. God, I remember when we got Fox. And when Fox first started, there were only like 50 affiliates. Fox was almost like a YouTube channel back in the day. Kathy, were you still living in Cleveland when Channel 8 converted to Fox? Because Channel 8 was CBS. Because Channel 8 was always known as WJW. And when Fox bought them, the station went to, the call letters changed to WJKW. And then when the deal was fully approved with Channel 19 to take over CBS, Channel 8 went back to WJW. It was the screwiest thing. And I don't know how they managed it, but technically, Fox should have been Channel 19. How the FCC okayed that deal, I'll never know. Of course, Fox knew that Channel 8 was more popular and people were used to watching 8. They were smart. They were like, hey, Clevelanders are used to 3, 5, and 8. Channel 19, you can have CBS. Channel 19's like the redheaded stepchild. Because I very rarely watch CBS, Channel 19. Kathy, do you remember see, I can't remember when Fox, the deal went through. Because Channel 19, the anchor, the news anchor was Denise DeFalla. And she got the anchor job right out of college. And she was with 19 for, God, 25 years. Because everybody was really kind of pissed that she got the job. because there were a lot of news anchors from other stations around the country that wanted to come in and be news anchor. And she nailed that job right out of college. Of course, I know why. Cheaper. Why would they bring somebody in from Wyoming and have to pay them a big salary when they're getting a college girl, local? But she was good. God. As soon you would say Channel 19, and immediately you would think Denise DeFalla. It was like she owned the station. But like with all the stations now, I don't recognize any of the anchors, the sportscasters, the weather forecasters. And boy, Channel 19, they got a goofball for a weather guy. Oy, 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 oy. That's why I have a weather app on my cell phone. I just... Well, then you were around for 4 years. But see, like I say, Channel 19 was like the redheaded stepchild. People were so used to 3, 5, and 8 that CBS Network literally got forgotten. You had, ABC, NBC, and Fox. And then here's CBS, literally off the dial. And like I say, Fox, they pulled a smooth move. When they came in and they bought Channel 8. Because even like now, I still, even though it's Fox, when I think Channel 8, I still think CBS, and then I gotta go like, no, it's the redheaded stepchild, Channel 19. But I don't watch that much local TV anyway. If I want to watch local TV, I switch on the local TV. Otherwise, I switch on my big Samsung. I've got them side by side in my bedroom. And I still haven't got the third TV hooked up yet. That one's going to have my DVD and my laptop hooked to it. So that way, if I'm in bed and I want to watch Hill Street Pirates or Shiz, I can get in the chat if I want. Oh, I didn't care for either one of them either. Fred Griffith and Joe Rose, I couldn't stand either one of them. And Joe Rose was sold on himself. He thought his shit didn't stink. big deal. You know, you work for a TV station. He thought he was like emperor. Oh, I'm Joe Rose. You just do the news, asshole. I couldn't even tell you the names of any of them today. I come from the days of Doug Adair. Doug Adair in Cleveland was basically the Walter Cronkite of Cleveland. When Doug Adair did the news, he did the news like Cronkite. You could trust him. Matter of fact, somebody had said that once. And Doug Adair was like, oh, no, I'm not that good. Yeah, Doug Adair was the Walter Cronkite of Cleveland broadcasting. And Dick Goddard for weather. If you wanted a true weather report, Dick Goddard. Because Dick Goddard had a weather station in his house. That guy would watch weather 24 hours a day. Because they had showed it once. He had a meteorological weather station in his house. Because he would, before he left to come to the station, he would write his weather report. Because he was on it. If that guy told you it's going to rain in 20 minutes, you could just about set your watch by him. He was that good. And there is nobody that can even hold a candle to him today. He had a better setup at his house than they had at the fucking station. It was amazing. But there was a guy that lived for weather. And that's why I'm glad that they named the weather, the Dick Goddard weather, whatever they call it. That studio was named after him. Because he lived like out in Medina. He would drive in from Medina every day. Jesus. I always wonder what happened to all that equipment at his house. Could you imagine seeing the listing for that house after he passed? 4-bedroom ranch with meteorological weather forecast station. I said, oh, I'll buy that. Like I say, that setup at his house was more impressive than what they had at the fucking station. But that guy, I'll tell you what, he lived for weather. Dick Goddard was the Walter Cronkite of weather. Because I remember he was the first to have the meteorological seal of approval. And then everybody else was like, oh shit, I guess I gotta get one. The most trusted name in weather, Dick Goddard. That was back in the good old days of television in Cleveland. Well, you know, back in the day, anybody that was on TV had to have a certain body image. That's why you never saw any large people. Now it's different. But back in the day, you had to have a certain body image. And boy, they would body shame you if you, because, like they say, TV camera adds 10 pounds. Oh, was it? Good. Good. I would have hated to see all that stuff get scrapped. I didn't know that. I guess one day I'll have to take a trip to the Natural History Museum. God, I haven't been there in 30 years. I used to get in for free. I knew one of the curators of the museum. He used to literally go out on dinosaur digs. Because I'll never forget, I was managing the body shop, the Buick body shop, and somebody hit his car. He brought it in for repair. And he says, I got something interesting to show you. He brings in his briefcase and he had this fucking prehistoric tooth. It came out of a saber-toothed lion or some shit. He said, here, that tooth is 3,000 years old. And I was like, whoa. He had it in his briefcase like a pen, you know. Hey, look, here's a tooth. So he used to give me free passes all the time. My kid loved it. He would, well, what little kid isn't into dinosaurs, you know? Christ, we went, Christ, 4 or 5 times in 1 year. He would stop and he'd say, hey, we put a new display in. Here's some passes. I'd walk in the museum. The girl would look at the passes and go, oh, right this way. Another museum I used to love was Crawford. I wanted to volunteer. If it wasn't so goddamn far away, I would have. Because the museum volunteers get to drive the antique cars in parades. And I always wanted to do that. If you become a volunteer at the Crawford, you literally get to drive the antique cars in the parades. But God, driving down to the University Circle because you have, when you volunteer, it's a 12-month thing. You can't say, oh, it's winter. I could see me driving down there ass deep in snow, skidding all over the road, just to wipe dust off of cars in the museum that day. I saw a thing recently, they're looking for volunteers again. But it's too damn far to drive. Christ, take the Shoreway to MLK and MLK to University Circle and God, I haven't been to the Cleveland Symphony Orchestra in 40, 45, 50 years. Same thing, Cleveland Playhouse. I haven't, 50 years easy. It's like when I worked for the county, we used to get free passes to Cleveland Playhouse. I'll have to call the museum and see how much it costs to get in and if they have a senior citizen discount. I would go just to see Dick Goddard's equipment. I remember they only showed it once. He was kind of secretive about that shit. Because I remember one of the anchors, either before or after the weather forecast, they asked him right on the air, don't you have a weather station in your house? And he goes, yeah, I'll show it to you sometime. They sent out a camera crew and they Yeah, Kathy, you know exactly, it would be, now, getting to the Shoreway is no problem. Just drive up 117th to Clifton, Clifton to the Shoreway. But then you get off at MLK, and MLK is nothing but. There have been more accidents in the winter on MLK than anywhere in the city. It's just too far for me to frickin' drive. But God, I would love to drive some of them antique cars in parades. Because basically, like, if you're driving, say, a 1915 Hupmobile, they have costumes. You get period correct. And I always thought that would be so neat. But not. And then, like I say, you can't say I'm not coming in. But it would be kind of cool. Because I remember at the auto show one year, I was talking to one of the guys from Crawford, and he was a volunteer. And he told me, he said, matter of fact, he was like me. He said, the only reason I volunteer is to drive these old cars. I said, oh, kind of interesting. He said, well, it's like 3 days a week, and it's 12 months out of the year. Once you sign up to volunteer, they like own you. I was like, nah, I don't think so. Not where it's located. Although I haven't been out to, what the hell is it, at 55th, Space and Science Museum or whatever the hell it is, where the Cleveland Aquarium moved into. I've never been there. God, when the aquarium was down at 72nd Street, I used to go a lot. Then the fucking roof caved in, and the city was too cheap to fix the building. And we were without an aquarium for quite a while because they gave everything away. Then they built that space, I think it's called the Space and Science Museum or something like that, and the aquarium is in there. From what I hear, it's an impressive aquarium, but the admission fees are killers too. Somebody I think told me to get in the Space Science Museum, it's like 25 or 30 bucks. That's a lot of money to a retiree in unsociable security. I don't have that big law firm nest egg like Ron is sitting on. Just kidding. Oh, Kathy, the house smells of caraway seed sauerkraut. I put the crock pot on at 2 o'clock. And man, does that sauerkraut have a lot of caraway seeds. I'm looking forward to that. Because I've never had caraway seed sauerkraut. But does it smell good? Every now and then when the wind blows in the kitchen window, I get a whiff of it in here. Yeah, I'm going to have to go up to Mark's tomorrow. Get me, maybe get me some Polska kielbasa. Make some good old kielbasa and sauerkraut. Because when I make my kielbasa and sauerkraut, I also put, I get that can of them little potatoes, you know. They start with a potato this big and then it ends up the size of a golf ball, you know. Well, get yourself some kielbasa and some sauerkraut and make some for yourself. That's what I love about that crock pot. It does just enough for 2 servings. It's a little one. About like so. Got a removable crock. That's the one I was telling you about. I got it at Family Dollar. And it cost me, I think it was 15 bucks. After Christmas, I'm in the store, and on the end cap, it says, reduced for quick sale. They had some irons and can openers. Here's the same crock pot that I paid 15 bucks for $5. So I snagged it. It's in the pantry in case my number one burns out, I have a backup. I couldn't believe it. I was like, $5? This can't be right. I get up to the cash register. I said to the girl, is this price right? Yeah, $5. Then the woman behind me was like, oh, I want one of them. I said, it was the last one. She says, I want one of them. I said, well, give me 10. Well, you only paid 5. I said, well, carrying charge. She didn't think it was funny. My Heineken coffee mug. have a Heineken coffee mug. I have a Heineken insulated mug. And a stoneware Heineken beer stein that I keep in the freezer. If I get any, well, I've been cheating this week. I bought a 6-pack. Oh, you, I had the biggest shock of my life the other day, Kathy. In Lakewood was a Hungarian pastry shop, Tommy's Pastries. Tommy got in some financial problem and closed the shop, which killed me because that was the only place I could get my Hungarian pogačas from. Well, there's a place down on Lorraine, but they're so expensive. So a friend was telling me Tommy went over to Hungary to sell. His parents had an estate and they had a farm. So he went over there to sell these 2 properties, hoping to get enough money to bail the bakery out of debt. Now it's been closed for a year. He reopened it. I couldn't believe it. Tommy's Pastries is back in business after being closed for a year. He was able to pay off the debts, upgrade the bakery, and he's got enough nest egg to keep it running into the future. Plus, he hired a Hungarian baker and brought him over. He worked out a year visa, and he's going to try to get the guy established because he's a young guy to live here permanently. Now, talk about really authentic Hungarian bakery. I mean, Tommy was baking authentic. Now he's got this young baker. I'm going there next week. I'm going to get me a couple dozen pogačas. And as a matter of fact, Kathy, I am going on the 30th to my pain management doctor. Okay? Both doctors we're going to have a conference because I had the CT scans, the MRI, 25 x-rays. I want to eat poppy seed again. Especially now that Tommy's open again. I'm going to tell him, hey, I want to eat poppy seed again. The hell with this false positive for cocaine. You know I ain't taking no fucking cocaine. I'm going to argue with them until I turn blue in the face. I want to eat poppy seed again. Especially since Marx is carrying solo poppy seed. I could buy a can. I wonder if you can eat it out of the can. Do you have to bake it? You can eat nut roll out of the can. Well, not nut roll, but I wonder if you could eat the poppy seed out of the can. Shit, I'll be sitting there with a spoon. Yeah, I'm gonna tell him, you know, it's been too goddamn long since I had poppy seed. I miss it. And now that my Hungarian bakery's open again, get me some good poppy seed roll. Nothing better than slicing some poppy seed roll and putting it in the toaster oven to warm it up a little bit and slather it with butter. Mmm! You've eaten it right out of the can? Good. Now that Marx is carrying it, I'll get me a couple of cans. I could see me going in for a piss test. Goddamn doctor calling me saying, holy shit, you doing cocaine every day? No, I'm eating poppy seed. He'll ask me why, and I'll tell him. My Hungarian bakery has been closed. Oh, it's more than a year. It's like almost 2. It's almost 2 years that he's been closed. That's right. Because there was an article. I went in on, what the hell was it? Yelp? And there was a thing that said the shop's reopened. He did all kinds of upgrades, plumbing, electrical, everything he couldn't afford. He paid off his overdue bills. He put in a new oven. There you go, Kathy, yeah. It's part of my religion to eat poppy seed. They'll say, what religion is that? I'll say, Hungarian poppy seed roll religion. God, you know it sucks. Although, like Giant Eagle, their bakery, they don't make poppy seed Danish. The only time you see poppy seed roll is Easter, where Tommy has them daily. And boy, does he make some good, oh, his cheese Danish are to die for. Oh my God. When I was living down the street, I would go down there 3-4 times a week. Get some poppy seed Danish, get some cheese Danish, some raspberry Danish, a dozen pogotches. Then when I moved out of Lakewood and come back to Cleveland, I was only going there like once a month. Then the one day I pulled up out front and a big sign, closed. I got closed. So luckily, the guy down the street that owns the computer shop, he knew Tommy. And I says, well, what's this closed? And he said, oh. Because Tommy was like 60 grand in debt. And he said he inherited this estate. I guess his parents were quite well-to-do in Hungary. And they had this big farm. I don't know how many acres, but Joe kept telling me, big farm. So he went over there to sell it. And then he come back, paid off the debts, upgraded the bakery, and reopened. I was like, oh, wonderful. Because I've been going through pogotch and poppy seed withdrawal. Well, mainly pogotch withdrawal because I couldn't eat the poppy seed. Which is bullshit. At my age, I'm going to be doing cocaine. Like I could afford it. It's like every now and then at the hospital, they have a door greeter. Every place has got a fucking door greeter, you know, since Walmart started the door greeter. The door greeter at the hospital. Come in the door. Can I help you, sir? Yeah, I'm going to see my drug dealer. You what? I'm going back to my drug dealer. What? I'm going to the pharmacy. Oh, okay. You know where it is? Yeah, it's right down there. No sense of humor. Can I help you, sir? Yeah, I'm going to see my drug dealer. Her eyes got like two saucers. What? Going to see my drug dealer. I think you have the wrong place, sir. The pharmacist. Do you know where it is? No. Show me. Didn't I like this? You know, Kathy, that's one of them cheap goddamn Ronson lighters. Ronson was crap shit back in the 50s. Well, that was given to me. It was a gift. Because I own nothing but Zippos. And believe me, Zippos work every time. Well, except if you forget to fill them, but I hate that goddamn Ronson lighter. And I just filled the damn thing. What's today? Friday? Wednesday. I filled it. It was dripping out. It was so full. It's a crappy design. You know, Zippos have holes all the way around. This thing's got these stupid... and it don't want to light half the time. I hate the thing. The only reason I use it is because it says Central Intelligence Agency. CIA. United States of America. It's a brand new lighter. I took it out of the box and filled it. It's brand spanking new. My buddy just gave it to me. But anytime I've had a goddamn Ronson lighter, they suck. Matter of fact, the only Ronsons that worked were the ones back in the day where they were clear plastic and you could see the fluid level, and they had dice in them, and you'd turn it upside down and the ladies' clothes would come off, you know. They were neat lighters. Then they did away with them. They went to this Zippo style. It's brand goddamn new, right out of the box. But like I say, any Ronson lighter is crap. Give me a Zippo. That's why Zippo's been around for 100 years. You know, the amazing thing is, have you ever gone in on the Zippo website? It is amazing how many different lighters they make. You would think, evidently there's just as many smokers now as there was back in the day, because something's keeping Zippo in business. Although their lighters aren't cheap anymore. But every Zippo lighter that I owned, no problem. This goddamn Ronson, piece of shit. Now watch, somebody from Ronson will be watching the show. There'll be 47 employees out in front of my house tonight with pitchforks and torches. Drag him out! Oh yeah, you can get a Zippo lighter with every sports team, whether it be football, basketball, hockey, and then all the different designs. and the new colors. I like the matte colors. They got them that matte, but because I'm on their notification. I get an email like once a month. What's going on sale? What's discontinued? And you know what's amazing, Kathy? I collect them. I probably have maybe 60 or 70. And I got one. I'll have to dig it out. It was from some convention back in the 30s or 40s. I can't even remember what group. And I got it at a yard sale for $1 because it was broken. I sent it to Zippo and they fixed it. They put all new guts in it. They resoldered the lid that came, the hinge broke. And they tell you, lifetime guarantee. They fix them for free. And they stick new guts in them. They come back like brand new. And they always send you a penny. It like goes on a keychain. It's kind of neat. I got a shitload of them. They ship you back your repaired lighter and you get this penny. Because when I got that lighter broken, I put a letter in. I said, I didn't own this. I bought it at a yard sale. I paid $1 for it. It was broken. Feel free to give me an estimate. And about a month later, I get the thing back, repaired for free. Oh, that's one of their. That's why I bought several, brand new, and it was mainly for the warranty. But lighters I would pick up at yard sales, garage sales, basement sales, and if they were broken, I'd ship them off and they'd fix them. No questions asked. I'll have to dig that one out and see what the hell convention. I think it was a Masonic convention. But the hinge was broke. And it come back like brand. They buffed it out. Oh, it come back. It looked like new in the box. For free. Well, it cost me the postage to mail it, but that was only a couple bucks. And they're reliable. I have never had a Zippo go bad. Like I say, unless I forget to fill it. As long as you got to brush them off every now and then. Keep a flint in them. And keep them filled. Like I say, this one, the convention was like either in the late 30s or early 40s. And they gave the Zippo lighters away at the convention. And what happened was the lid came unsoldered from the hinge, and the hinge was broke. The lighter was in 3 pieces. And I shipped it to him, and it came back looking like brand new. But it's amazing. All right, Ron. Hope you're feeling better there, buddy. Sorry to hear you're suffering. But I couldn't believe when I went on the website. It was just page after page after page of lighters. I was like, man, you guys must be selling a shitload of lighters. And the good thing is they're still made in the good old USA, in Pennsylvania. A good old American company. I would say that's another reason that they sell well. Because they've been around since the 30s, and they offer a product that is made with pride. They have not cut corners over the years. You get a Zippo lighter today, it's the same as a Zippo lighter you might have bought 20 years ago. They didn't cheapen the product one bit. And that's why I'm a loyal Zippo lighter owner, except for this crappy Ronson. I should send it to them. They'll send me back a Zippo. Here, we're sorry you had this cheap piece of shit. Actually, you know what I should do? I bet you the dimensions are the same. Take the guts out of one of my Zippos and put it in there. I would think the dimensions are identical. Just take the guts out of a Zippo and stick it in this Ronson case. I think I'll try that tomorrow. Yeah, because I have a leather case that clips on my belt that you slip the Zippo in and you snap it shut. That Ronson fits in it perfect. I would tend to think the dimensions are identical. Tomorrow, I'm going to go through my collection and pull the guts out of one, and if it fits, voila. Have me a hybrid Ronson with a Zippo interior. I know I'm a little older than you. Did you ever see the Ronsons back in the day? You could see through them. They were clear plastic, and if the wick needed more fluid, you would turn it upside down, and there was a little push button on the side that would let the drip some fluid into the wick. And they had dice in them and little miniature cards, and they were neat because, like the dice, you could shake them up. And like I say, they had one where it was a woman in a dress, and you turned it upside down and the dress fell off and she was in a little bikini, you know. And then they stopped making them. And I have been trying to find one for years, just to have one, because I had them back in the day. I have gone on eBay, I have gone on different websites. You can't find them damn things. I want one. Just because when I started smoking back at age 14, I bought a Ronson because you could buy them anywhere. Mom and pop shops had them. They were everywhere. Okay, here we go, Kathy. Did you ever see the bags of tobacco for roll your own cigarettes? It was a little cloth bag, and it had tobacco and rolling papers. And you would take the rolling paper and put the tobacco in and lick it and roll it. They used to be in drugstores. And pipes. You could buy pipes everywhere. Now that's a lost art. I rarely see a pipe smoker anymore. But I'll tell you what I want. I want a Sherlock Holmes. That crook pipe, I want one of them. Because I smoked a pipe for a long time. When I had teeth, it was easier to hold in my mouth. All right, Linda. Hope you're on the mend from your fall. Go feed, and we'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for being here. Oh, Kathy, I couldn't roll cigarettes to save my life. My cigarettes look like doobies when I get done. Oh, man. I could not roll a cigarette to save my life. And one of my best buddies in high school, oh, he could roll perfect cigarettes. He'd be like, watch me. I'd watch him. I'd try. I wasted more rolling papers and more tobacco. I'd go to roll a cigarette and the wind would blow and it'd blow the fucking tobacco out of the... No, there was no way. I ended up buying one of them little pocket rolling machines. Remember those? You could carry them in your pocket. Put the rolling paper in the tobacco and lick the edge of it and zick. And then you'd have a smoke. But to sit and roll one of my own, nope. Couldn't do it. But that shit, you used to be able to buy them everywhere. I remember the drugstore had whole smoking aisle, pipes and pipe tobacco, every pipe tobacco, chewing tobacco. Not no more. Matter of fact, what was it, CVS that quit selling cigarettes? I think it was CVS. Now, I don't know if Walgreens does. I haven't been in a drugstore in ages. But roll your own. Somebody'd say, hey, roll me a cigarette or I'm pulling the trigger. I'd say, just shoot me. Do they really? Wow. Well, I know Ohio has got some strange tobacco laws. Can you still get the bags of roll your own? Because if you can still get the bags of roll your own, I'll figure some way of sending you money to buy me one just for the memory. Really? Oh, God, I want one. Mainly because I tell kids about the bags, and they're like, "Oh, you're full of shit. They didn't do. No, you couldn't do that. Nah." Shit, I remember being 5 years old. My parents give me a note. I'd go up to the corner mom and pop store and come back with a pack of cigarettes. My father'd be frickin' drunk on his ass. Oh, I'm out of cigarettes. Here. Go up to get me a pack of cigarettes. Can I buy candy? No. Well, we can do that here. I mean, they do sell bulk tobacco and the tubes and the. No. But I want one of the bags. If they still sell the little tobacco bag and the rolling papers, I want one. You know, I got a smoke shop up the street. As a matter of fact, I've got a machine. I would make my own cigarettes. The problem is, I couldn't get them to pack tight enough. I'd be smoking them and the cherry'd fall off the end and burn a hole in my shirt. I got more shirts with burn holes in them. But I got a machine. As a matter of fact, it's electric. You put the tobacco in, you put the tube on the end, push the button, brrr, out comes a cigarette. But it don't pack them tight enough. I went through that shit. Make my own cigarettes. But see, before Ohio changed the law, we had smoke shops where you would go in and pick your tobacco, and then they would load a machine with the tubes, and the machine would make you a carton of cigarettes. And then they went, no, that's illegal. So you couldn't go in and have them made, but you could buy your own machine, which I did. And I would buy the tubes and the tobacco. When you figure it out, it is a lot cheaper. It's just maybe because I bought a cheap-ass crappy machine. If I'd have spent the money and bought a more expensive one, I probably would have had decent cigarettes out of it. My son still does. He buys the tubes and the tobacco, and I don't want to be bothered with it. I'll just go up for, what are these, $5.42 a pack? Yeah, next time you're around the tobacco area, check. See if they still make them. I would tend to think the cowboys out west, the real cowboys, they probably still sell them somewhere. You know, goddamn cowboy on a cattle drive, it's not like he's going to pull out his LDs, you know. They'll stop and water the horses and roll himself a cigarette. Ah, the good old days. Well, I think it's that time since everybody is headed out. I have some hot Slovenian sausage and caraway sauerkraut waiting for me. We know where, right here. WDWL TV. And with that, thanks for being here. Have a wonderful rest of your evening. And we will meet again tomorrow night. Take care, everybody.